Hey, what's up, everybody? Jonathan Bailor back with another special SANE show. And I call this a special SANE show because we have an extra special guest with us today, because I've heard so much recently about the challenges that we face sometimes as we get older. And this isn't just about women. It's not just about men. It's about, we all know that after we hit 30, after we hit 40, after we hit 50, each of those decades, there seems to be a little bit of an inflection where what we did in the past may not seem to be working anymore. And it seems like we're almost going on an uphill battle. Well, I wanted to bring in one of the world's leading experts in this. And I say leading expert because if you look at the way she lives, the proof is in the pudding. Her name is Natalie Jill. She is a rock star. She's with nataliesjillfitness.com, and she's got all sorts of amazing certifications and qualifications, but her life is proof enough. Natalie Jill, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so glad to be here, Jonathan.
Well, Natalie, I said, I really wanted to have you on the show here today because I think your life speaks volumes. So tell us a little about your life and your story and what got you to the place you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love to say I'm a 44-year-old mom, just like everybody else, because sometimes, especially women, they'll look at my social media and they'll say, oh, she's, well-known in fitness, or she has all this time to train and work out all day. But really what they don't know is I wasn't doing anything in fitness and nutrition a few years ago. I was in corporate America, and I had just had a baby. And when I say I'm just like everybody else, I mean it, because I went through struggles and the problem with weight gain and depression and being a newly single mom. I went through a divorce several years ago. And I was somebody who had felt like I lost my way in my late 30s and really didn't know who I was anymore. I felt like, my gosh, I'm getting older, and I don't know what my calling is or who I am or what I stand for. I went through this, and from what I know, so many people go through that sort of in that middle age approaching. And what happened to me was I had spent my whole life being that person that just felt like I had to fit in with everybody. Keeping up with the Joneses, having this great appearance. I had this nice job. I had what looked like this perfect happy life. I had the nice neighborhood, the husband, the 2 dogs, the baby on the way. I looked like this ideal thing. But what people didn't know was that I was really, really sad inside, because I was in a marriage that was going in the wrong direction. He was once my best friend, and we were facing getting a divorce. I was pregnant with my first baby. I was having to take a voluntary job demotion at my corporate job because my job involved a lot of travel, and knowing I was going to be a single mom, that wasn't going to work. And I found myself financially distressed, because not just the divorce, but this was the time when the housing market had crashed, the stock market had crashed. Everything was just sort of going in this really bad direction. So where I had been this once successful, put together person, all of a sudden I found myself just stressed all the time and depressed, which led to a lot of eating the wrong foods, gaining a lot of weight, and just really losing my self-esteem. And that's where, everyone's heard the expression rock bottom is the first place, the beginning is the perfect place to begin. That is truly what happened to me. I hit this rock bottom spot, and I literally went into this, I call a fuzzy bubble for about 3 months, where I just didn't want to leave my house. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I felt embarrassed. I felt alone. And I remember this day so clearly, because I was walking my daughter in the stroller and my 2 dogs on the leash. And I was walking, and I remember thinking, anyone that looks at me right now would think I have this perfect life, and I'm so sad and depressed, and the only thing that's keeping me going right now is that I'm a mom and that I have this daughter. And I remember that was the same day that I caught this glimpse of myself in one of those windows that you see the mirror reflection. And I saw things hanging on me. I didn't know I could hang. I had this thought that I guess this is what everyone talks about. You get older, you gain weight, your body changes, and it's just the way it is. And I thought about that, and I walked home, and I kept thinking about it, and I decided right in that moment, you know what, maybe it doesn't have to be this way. Maybe I can have all the cards stacked against me right now, but I could find my way out. And that was literally the first day of the rest of my life and what's now become my fitness business that's helped transform so many people.
Natalie, it's an amazing story, because I hope people have an opportunity right now. Like if they're watching this online, go to nataliejofitness.com and look at the pictures you'll see there, the images you'll see on social media. I could totally imagine people like, this is this perfect person who, I could never do that. There's some sort of Hollywood secret or Hollywood miracle going on there. But you're breaking this down. You're being very real with us. But so what was it? You think you said, in this moment, the rest of your life started. So many of us, we'll sort of go down that downward spiral, and instead of parlaying that into improved health and fitness, it ends up, getting sort of worse and worse and worse. Or if we make that switch, inevitable roadblocks happen. And then how did you, obviously it didn't take 1 week for you to make that transformation. What was the motivational point that happened? And then what kept you motivated for the years it took to get where you are today?
That's a great question. So I hope this helps so many people listening, because this is the truth of exactly what I did. I got home and I sat with my thoughts, and I decided right then and there I was going to change. So I always say the first step in transforming anything, whether it's your body, your relationships, your job, anything, is you have to decide. So I decided right then and there, I'm going to figure out a way. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to figure out a way, and I'm going to do this. So I decided that first. I decided I was going to be happy, and I was going to change my body, and I was going to become healthy. That was the first thing. The second thing I did is I made a vision board. And the reason I made a vision board is I thought, if I am feeling this down, I can't even visualize right now in my head there being any other option to how crappy I feel right now. So I thought, if I can make a vision board, and for those listening that don't know what a vision board is, it was literally just me taking a poster board, and I went through magazines and I cut out anything that was appealing to me. I mean, like fit looking women, happy moms. I put a nice house, a happy family, just anything that seemed like something I would want. And it wasn't materialistic. It was just really what I wanted. And I thought, if I look at this vision board every day, it's going to pull up a feeling, and we change towards feelings. And if I could feel happy or hopeful or confident, I could work towards that. So that vision board was so powerful, because just making that got me in touch with how I wanted to feel. So I put that vision board there, and I said, I'm going to look at this every day, and I'm going to start moving in direction of feeling the way I feel when I look at these pictures. And then I started my search on the internet, and this is where it got tough. And this is where a lot of things started to really change. I started searching for how to lose weight, how to not be depressed. And I faced what so many people listening have faced, the information overload. Oh my gosh, there's so much out there. Like, do I eat carbs? Do I eat fat? What do I do? Great food only, cleanses. I was so confused. I'm like, what the heck? And I have to work out for an hour. I have to do cardio on an empty stomach. I really was overwhelmed. And I'm somebody who had always worked out before, and I considered myself somewhat knowledgeable. I actually had, had a certified personal training certificate, just because I had gotten that before at one point. I was interested in nutrition, but I was even overwhelmed. And I thought, I'm somebody who's knowledgeable and I'm overwhelmed. So I said, this is confusing. I don't like any of this. I'm going to go back to basics. I'm going to eat real, natural, unprocessed food. I'm going to stop focusing on what I can't have. And I'm going to start focusing on addition. What can I add into my diet and my life every single day that's going to help me towards my goal? And I'm going to stop focusing on what I can't do. And that's what I decided right then and there. And where everything changed with my career now, what led me to inspire others with this, is I was looking for my own accountability, and I was looking for my own validation somehow that I was doing the right thing. So I had maybe 100 people on Facebook at the time, which is everyone when we started on Facebook, your high school friends or whatever. And I started posting my meals. I was like the original what I eat poster that everyone has become a meme now of posting your food. I posted, this is what I'm having for lunch. This is what I'm having for dinner. I shared it. And what happened was I was being so real and authentic, because I wasn't caring or thinking of trying to appear a certain way. I wasn't trying to sell anything. I wasn't trying to be anyone. I was just sharing what I was doing and what I was eating as a busy mom who was feeling down and overweight. And people were not only encouraging, they were interested. How did you make this? What did you do? So Facebook was my crutch initially. I was sharing these recipes and people kept asking me what were in them. And granted, I was taking these pictures with my BlackBerry phone. I don't even know if they make BlackBerry phones anymore. This is like, I wasn't like a food stylist taking these pictures. It's like these really bad pictures that I was taking and posting. And people said, why don't you make a book? I was like, I don't know how to make a book. We'll make an ebook. And I remember Googling what an ebook was. I didn't even know what that meant. Ebook, okay, electronic book. So I sat there one weekend and I made a little PDF of my BlackBerry photos. I didn't put any, and my instructions that probably any publisher would laugh at now on how to make these recipes. And I put them out there and people wanted to buy it. And I remember I charged $12 at the time. And they would send me a little email with a PayPal and I would send them this little file. And people liked my recipes. And from there, the next question was, well, we're seeing you with these recipes and what you look like and your body's changing. So how do you put this together for a diet plan? You know, how did you do this? So I sat down another weekend and I wrote what is now become my 7-day jumpstart, but I did this in a weekend initially. I wrote what I shared with you about making a vision board, about writing out goals, about addition versus subtraction, and how I added good foods into my life versus like restricting everything. And I put that out online as my little dinky ebook too. Probably had a million grammar mistakes. It's one of those things I'm embarrassed by now, my initial version. And people bought it. But what was so exciting to me was not the amount of money it was bringing in, was that people were getting results from it and they loved it. So they would send me an email on Facebook and say, oh my gosh, I love your 7-day jumpstart download. I lost 5 pounds. I feel great. I've got energy. You know, this is amazing. Thanks for creating it. And I would say, can I screenshot that and share it? It'll be encouraging to others. And they say, yes. So I would share it. And that is literally how my entire brand and business started. I was just sharing what I had learned and sharing the successes of others. And it grew and grew. And my Facebook now is at 1.5 million people. And that was not from any fancy marketing trick. It was literally just from me sharing and being authentic and changing my own body, people watching and wanting some of that too.
Natalie, I think that's hugely important because you did two things there that I know so many people struggle with, and I apologize, I'm actually hearing myself. Okay, there we go. We're back. You did two things there that are hugely important and hugely empowering for folks. The first is by putting yourself out there, you changed in some ways your identity. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's really easy to lose motivation when what we're doing is for, you know, because we think society thinks we should do it, or because of some, like, you know, our mother made us feel a certain way at some point in our life. But like you had mentioned two changes in identity during your story. One was when you became a mother, and most people, when they become a parent, like that's the most, universal identity change, where it's like they don't see themselves as the same way they saw before. Like, now I see myself as a mother. Well, when you started posting that information online, I can imagine that it sort of shifted your identity a little bit to being like someone who's just kind of like casually doing this by myself, to someone who is helping others. And as you start helping others, even with, you know, it doesn't need to be perfect. And in fact, it will never be perfect. And that's the second key thing you hit on. You know, I'm just going to put out there what I'm doing. I understand that it's not perfect. I understand that none of us are perfect. But by doing that, by involving others, you enabled this identity shift within yourself, which I can imagine then created this virtuous cycle like you described, which is, it just keeps building and building and building. And we see so much research around there, right? Where the changing of the identity, the why, the mindset, and that social support is so critically important. But like, how do you, I know so many people, they, you know, if you ask them to put themselves out there, I mean, we have, our app is focused on saying, post your meals. That's what it does. It posts people's meals. But so many people are like, I don't want to post my meals because what if they're not perfect? Or what if they're not good? How do we overcome that?
I really learned a lot about perfection through my whole process, because I think was a fake person before. I was trying to impress society before with my house and my marriage and my job and whatever. And it wasn't until I became my real authentic self and stopped caring about perfection that everything changed for me. I've reached more people now, and I've created more success for my family and the people that work with us now. And just from being myself. I mean, what really keeps me going every day is I have changed the lives of so many people now. And that makes me so happy because I did it from being my real self. I wasn't trying to do anything or be anyone. And, even on the business side, I get people all the time reach out to me and they say like, my gosh, any tricks for building your social media, or how do I launch this product or this brand? And I'm thinking, you're missing it. You're missing it. You need to be yourself first. And then you will attract the right people. And then a product may make sense when you know what they need, what they want. But when you go about it the other way, it's fake. You haven't developed that audience first, and it's a lot more challenging. So I really think the big lesson I learned was about being my authentic self, embracing it, not trying to be perfect. And, and that's what makes things grow and happen. And even now in our business, I think when we get too lost on perfection, we miss it. You miss the mark, because people don't want perfection. They want real. And, when my book that's coming out, everything in there is about not being perfect, just about what can you add to help you to be better without that deprivation mode. Because I think people beat themselves all up all the time with, gosh, I'm not counting the exact right calories, or I'm not eating this, or I ate that, or, I didn't work out long enough. And that's so negative. Instead, let's embrace all the positive we can add.
Natalie, I think that's again, we're just talking about, this is proven psychology 101. I mean, it's getting back to basics from a nutrition perspective. It's getting back to basics from a movement perspective. But I think so often we forget about getting back to the basics from that mindset perspective, which is, like, please don't go it alone. Please involve other people. Please give yourself permission to pursue the positive rather than to attack the negative, right? We like know these things. We just need to kind of put them into action. So I've heard from some people, and I'd love to get your advice on this, that, social support, very, very important. But, I know a lot of people have, if they go to people maybe that are close to them or people in their lives, and they say, hey, I'm going to make these changes in my life, what they get is not support. What they get is the opposite of support. So how do we find people to help us with these things? And I don't mean help. I don't mean like guru. I mean like social support that are actually going to support us. Yeah,
I love that question, because I've gotten really good at deleting and blocking, not from social media, but from my life. And I advise that to everybody. You have to build your bus daily. And I'm going to use this analogy. I feel like I collect people daily in my life. No matter where you are, if you're at the store or you meet someone online or the mailman, there's people that you come across in your life that when you're talking to them or you interact with them, you feel positive, engaged, motivated, creative, you're happy. And then there's people in your life that when you even see them calling you or you hear their name, you get this like anxiety and this self-doubt, and you don't feel good about yourself. I encourage everybody to get really in touch with that and listening to that, because you want more of those people in your life that are supportive and make you feel good. And you want to block yourself away from the ones that don't. And it has to be that black and white. It is so important. When I started making these changes, I was in my late 30s. And my friends thought I was crazy, some of them. Literally, one of the goals on my vision board was to do fitness modeling. And they're thinking, you're a 39-year-old overweight mom. You're going to be a fitness model? Okay. And they called me out on it. And I didn't like the way I felt when they talked to me. So bye-bye. They were out of my life. I didn't care. I wanted the people that said, go for it. Even if they were laughing behind, I didn't care. I wanted the ones that said, go for it. You can do anything you set your mind to. And I made changes in my family. There's people in my family I do not talk to regularly because I don't like the way I feel. There's people in my life that I have not, they can still be in your life. They're just not the daily influencers. Everyone that works with us in our business, every client we deal with, everyone has to invoke that feeling, or I don't want them on my bus. So I highly encourage you've got to go through your people, who you come in contact with, and build a network of people that you do feel that way about and with, and that are encouraging and supportive. And then go on a social media cleanse. This is huge. Social media can be great in a lot of ways, but it also can be very negative. When you look down a news feed, you want to feel informed, positive, encouraged, good mood. If you find yourself looking at things that are making you feel bad about yourself, do not follow those people, especially with fitness and nutrition. Everything I post, I think to myself before I post it, if I am that woman that I was years ago when I was depressed and overweight, would I feel encouraged by this post, or would I feel hateful? and down and sad. And if I say that, I don't post it, because you have to think of on the social media side, like, who am I talking to? And if you, as the person going through your own transformation, if you're not feeling uplifted, motivated, good, and encouraged when you look at something, do not follow it. There's no reason. You don't need to feel bad about yourself.
Natalie, I love that. I mean, we've talked about sort of this, the common denominator here is, again, that so much of the good that you're too full for the bad in terms of food. It's, focus on the good so that you squeeze out the bad. Focus from the mindset perspective. You got the vision board, you're pumping your mind full of the good so that you crowd out the bad. And then even in the social arena, it's the same kind of thing. We want to try to pursue so much of the good that we're crowding out the bad. And I think that's really powerful. Natalie, this has gone by really, really fast. I mean, we've touched on a lot of powerful stuff here, and we really only scratched the surface. And you've been on this journey for many years. And I know you're not about perfection, but I have seen the upcoming book that you have, and it looks pretty close to perfect. No, just kidding. So tell us a little bit about this new project you're working on.
So I'm so excited about this book. Thank you for asking about that. It's the original 7-Day Jumpstart I had spoke about that has helped now over 50,000 people digitally, has become a hardcover book. And it's called 7-Day Jumpstart, Unprocess Your Diet. And it's really about everything we just spoke about, but it gives you actual tangible things you could do. It gives you 84 amazing recipes that you can add into your life. It's not restrictive, like you can't have all these other things. It's more about what you can add. It's about exercises you could do at home with your own body weight in a limited amount of time. I'm talking to the person I once was, the one that doesn't have the time or all the extra money or, all the trainers and all the equipment. It's things that you can do. It's how to create the vision board, how to make the changes that last forever. So yes, that's my book, and it'll be in stores everywhere May 3rd, but it is available for pre-order now with all kinds of bonuses. And people can get that at nataliejillfitness.com/book. And I would love anyone that gets it. I promise you won't regret it, because I was where you were, and it'll help you, especially if you're doing Jonathan's programs. My recipes they will be approved by him. I'm sure of it. I've looked at all of his stuff, so it would be a nice addition. It doesn't take away from that at all.
Natalie, the thing that I would really, I want to echo this. I want to encourage everyone to check out nataliejillfitness.com/book, because what I see, your brand, your message as really representing is, it shows so many of us that we don't have to be perfect to achieve something that, what's cool is that when we take this path of abundance and we take it not for one day, 2 days, but we take it continuously over time, the person that we become, as evidenced by you, is, I bet if you looked back when you were at your point of struggles, and if you could sort of take a snapshot of yourself now and what you do, you would have said that's impossible. And that's a perfect fictional version of me that will never happen. But when we take these small steps, when we focus on support and progress versus perfection in real life, we're not talking about 22-year-olds that live in Hollywood and are on cabbage soup diets. We're talking about real life, single mom, in a transition period doing this. So that's real. And I think that's really awesome. So I just want to thank you for doing that, because I think that's really important, and we need to see more of that.
Thank you very much.
So again, that URL is nataliejillfitness.com/book, correct?
/book.
/book. I bet if they just go to nataliejillfitness.com, there's going to be some links on there. Oh, there's the book. And what was that, you on the front?
Yeah, that's me on the front with an apple, unprocessing my diet. You can get the book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere. This is the paperback final review, but the actual book's hardcover, full color copy. And this has been my blood, sweat, and tears for a long time. So I hope everybody likes it as much as I did. I even have 7 guilt-free desserts in there. So it's all gluten-free and natural. So
I really appreciate it, Natalie. That looks great. And I don't know if anyone's ever said this before, but on the cover of that book, you look a lot like Jennifer Lopez.
I keep hearing that, and I'm so with that until this cover, and everyone keeps saying that.
I love it. Well,
because this is one of those covers, the publisher wanted the traditional in the kitchen smiling, and I said, no, I need it different. I want it different. So now I keep hearing I look like J-Lo. Yeah.
I love it. Well, Natalie, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Everyone, please, again, check out nataliejillfitness.com/book. And I'm sure if you just go to regular old nataliejillfitness.com, there'll be a bunch of information on the book there. She's, of course, got a cajillion followers on social media. So if you're not already following her on social media, please do. She puts out some amazing content. And like I said, this is someone whose life reflects complete and utter sanity. So I mean, that's awesome, right? She's doing it. She's not just saying it, she's doing it. And that's awesome. So please absolutely check out nataliejillfitness.com/book. And while you're doing that and every day after, remember, stay sane.